Welcome to week 8. This week I wanted to walk through the illustration of the character card for the barbecue deck. I've been illustrating the foods for quite a while now, and I haven't really introduced a new character since the original development of the game for the Kickstarter campaign a couple years ago now. And that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed illustrating and working on. Because I wouldn't really call myself an illustrator by trade. While I enjoy illustrating the food quite a bit, there's something about a character that presents you with unique challenges and unique opportunities to kind of capture some character. The goal of the food is to basically be recognizable. And so when you see a taco or a rack of ribs or whatever, the goal is for it to emulate the shape enough so that you see, yes, I confirm that this is a rack of ribs, or I confirm that this is a taco or a quesadilla or a hamburger. But with the characters, you have a lot of freedom, and really there's a lot of kind of equity in the sense that you can conjure up memories. You can communicate stuff that is so far beyond just this is food. And so with this character for the barbecue deck, I really want to try to tap into a lot of the I don't want to say even stereotypes, because I feel like it's sort of a negative way to view it, but I want to tap into a lot of the characteristics of barbecue. And so for me, my dad grew up in Texas, and whenever we visited my grandmother in Texas, we'd visit all these hole-in-the-wall barbecue shops. And so that to me informs a lot of what I'm illustrating when it comes to the character for barbecue. It's a Texas pitmaster in essence, and so there's also this weird twist on it for me. I love barbecue, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to have my own barbecue shop. And so deep down, I began realizing as I was illustrating that this really is some degree of a self-portrait of what I would love my future to look like. Now, as we'll see eventually. There's a little bit of assumption that I'll somehow learn how to grow a goatee better than I can now, but in essence, this was a really interesting exploration for me, because I was trying to capture the character of the Southern hard worker, blue collar kind of barbecue. You man the pit, and it takes a lot of time, and so I even as I was drawing the blue gloves is kind of a common thing. A lot of barbecue pitmasters will wear gloves of some sort, often just kind of the kind you'll find at your typical restaurant, just protective wear. But there's also these kind of distinctly blue gloves. They're thick rubber. They're meant to keep your hands protected from the heat when you're grabbing something out of the smoker or moving shelves or racks or whatever, or cutting and slicing the stuff that you're working with. And so these to me are kind of the ubiquitous element of barbecue in a sense. And so I wanted to try to I don't know, I was drawing some interesting parallels between a barbecue pitmaster and also a mechanic. There's a lot of interesting sort of connections between the two. Hardworking, just doing the job that they got to get done. There's not really a lot of ceremony to it. Sometimes you'll see industries where they're really kind of enamored with themselves and their own pomp and circumstance a little bit. But barbecue is really just this down-to-earth kind of, hey, put a hunk of meat in a smoker and it smokes for a while. And that's kind of it. And so there's something real charming to me about that and attractive. It's part of why I really enjoy it as a hobby as well. But yeah, so there's those kinds of elements that I'm trying to capture. There's also a funny phrase that I've heard as I've been kind of connected to some people, some barbecue guys. And one of the phrases that sort of circulates in the industry a little bit is "never trust a skinny chef." I thought that was kind of a funny phrase, and so as I'm illustrating this character, I wanted to give him a little bit of I don't want to say he's not grossly overweight per se, but give him something that makes it seem like he is a sampler of his cuisine, we'll say. And so that was kind of a fun little element to include for me, just to sort of try to capture the spirit of the people who pursue this craft. And so that'll be my goal with all of these, actually, as I'm doing even Chinese food, or if we end up doing the pizzeria or whatever. There's going to be elements that just I want to try to capture the uniqueness of each cuisine. That's something that I think is so great about the different types of food that's out there, is that each one really has its own character and its own personality of sorts. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish there. The other things that we worked on this week, beyond just illustrating these kinds of elements, we talked about the in-game processing of images, and so the menus now have been converted over from images to on-the-fly processing and I guess illustration, essentially. So that's been much more of a Daniel thing than a me thing, but I think that's going well, and it's kind of a cool thing that you can draw pictures through code. So that's kind of been a fun and interesting thing to explore. The real benefit for us is that it allows us to change the graphics of the game on the fly a lot quicker. Otherwise, it would require me to create a new user interface set of images for all of the different places we want to change the color, as opposed to now, Daniel can go through and find in the code where the colors are marked and then just change it to a different number. And so that's going to give us a lot of flexibility, which I'm excited about. And then the other thing I'm struggling, as odd as it is for me, I didn't think I would struggle in this way. I can't figure out any more entrees for barbecue. So right now I have ribs, pulled pork, brisket, spicy sausage, half a chicken, tri-tip. But I need 2 more. And so I'm realizing there's actually not as many entrees that are barbecue entrees as I had thought there would be. And so I'm gonna have to come up with a few more and figure out what would be a good option. You know, we may do a kind of a smoked ham. I consider it a turkey leg, but if we ever decide to do a carnival deck, that's such a good card for that. And so I'll probably omit that simply in the anticipation that we do a carnival deck at some point, or fair food, or however you want to say it. But yeah, so once I figure out those last 2, we'll have all the values and everything calculated for the barbecue deck, and we'll be good to go. So at this point, all I'm doing is fine-tuning some of these little small characteristics of eyebrows and positioning the eyes right, and then just for good measure, I'll add a Q on the hat to make it feel a little bit more like a trucker hat, but also to just reinforce the idea that this guy's for barbecue. So yeah, I also played with either a giant kind of a beard or I don't know, whatever else facial hair wise to dabble around with, but yeah, I feel like it gives the guy kind of a seasoned look. He's kind of not a rookie in the field, but able to be successful in the barbecue industry. And yeah, this has been a really fun illustration for me, and I'm really looking forward to illustrating some of the other characters. Not all the characters I illustrate are going to be connected to a specific deck, so that'll be fun to kind of dabble around with some other themes and other ideas too. So we'll probably do another time lapse of that in the future. But yeah, so there you go. There is the barbecue character card, and we'll keep moving, and looking forward to next week's video. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see these cards develop.